everybody.
For International Law Society, I'm Irisa.
I'm Amber.
I'm Rajiv.
And today we'll be hosting our webinar on voter registration.
So,
Yeah, we're going to be explaining how to register to vote and how to actually vote in Washington State. So if you're a citizen of Washington State, be sure to watch this. Even if you're not a citizen, kind of need to watch this so that when you become a citizen, you can learn how to vote. All right, so here's a quick rundown of how elections work. So there's two main parts of the presidential election. First is a primary. The primary is basically when the two main parties of Washington, or not Washington State, the US, so the Republicans and Democrats, it's when they choose their main nominee for presidency. So for the Republicans, they nominated Donald Trump, who was running for the president, and the Democrats nominated Kamala Harris to be the president. So for the presidential primary, all the deadlines have already passed, but here's just a quick explanation. So on February 23rd, it's the start of an 18-day voting period where you can basically go out and go to a voting center and turn in your ballots. On March 4th, the deadline for registering to vote online or by mail is due for presidential primaries. And then on March 12th, the deadline for voting, mailing in voting, and registering in person is all due. Now, for the actual presidential election, so this is where we actually vote between the two parties. So if you want to pick not Joe Biden, Kamala Harris or Donald Trump, that's what's happening right now. And starting last Friday, you can go to a voting center in King County or in Washington State, and you can submit or turn in a ballot to like pick who you want to vote for. If you haven't registered to vote already, your deadline for registering to vote by mail or online is October 28th. You have until then to register by mail or like online. If you do it after that, you can't really register online or by mail. If you still want to register after October 28th, though, you have until November 5th to go to a voting center in person and register to vote there with them. And they'll walk through the whole process on how to register to vote in person with them. Now, if you want to vote, you can go vote right now at a voting center or an election center, and you have until November 5th to vote. And you also have until November 5th to submit a mail-in ballot. If you already are registered to vote, you should have a mail-in ballot in your mailbox right now, and you can submit and you can fill that out and then mail that back to an election office by November 5th. Yeah. So here are all the eligibility requirements to vote in Washington State. So first of all, you must be a citizen of the United States. You need to make sure you're a citizen. You cannot be a resident, or you cannot simply be someone with a visa or a green card. Oh. Yeah. Yeah. So you must be a citizen of the United States. Second of all, you must be a resident of Washington State. This is really only important if you're voting for Washington State officials. So if you're voting for a Washington State senator or Washington State representative or the governor of Washington State, yeah, that's the only requirement for like voting for those people. If you're not a resident of Washington State, you can still vote for federal representatives like the president or vice president. You also must be at least 18 years old to vote. If you are 16 or 17 years old, you can still register to vote, but you can't vote until you're actually 18. So there's only three other things that block you from voting in Washington State. First of all, you cannot vote if you are disqualified to vote from a court order. So let's say you committed a crime and the judge sentenced that you cannot vote anymore. You cannot vote anymore. That's final. Second of all, if you're currently serving a sentence for a Washington State felony conviction, you cannot vote. Third of all, if you are currently incarcerated and in prison, you cannot vote.
Okay, let's speed through the rest of this. Yeah.
We just get the slides.
No rush. You are just
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wait, do you want to speed through this?
Yeah,
Really quickly? You don't need to do the exam.
Okay, how should you register to vote? So you can register two ways. The first is you can register to vote online at this website right here, vote, WA as in Washington.gov. And then that's how you can register online. However, if you register at this time, there is a chance that your ballot won't get mailed to you in time. So it would be a really good idea to visit this website, sos.wa.gov/election/voter/voter registration. And that website basically allows you to find voting centers near you, so the closest location. For example, if I just Google it, maybe it'll give me somewhere in Tacoma and I have to drive super, super far. That's not really convenient to anyone when we're trying to make voter registration really accessible. So something you can do is visit this website, find voting centers that are close to you, and then you can pick up a ballot. Like what Rajiv said earlier, you are able to vote starting now. So you can go to these centers and pick up a ballot if you don't know who to vote for. And there's informational booklets at the voting centers, which has information on every single candidate and their policies, so you can be more informed on your decision when it comes to November. The second way to register is by mail. So you go to sos.wa.gov without this other part, just the part in black, and that gives you information on how to register by mail.
Okay, cool. But what happens after you've registered? Well, there's 3 different ways that you can cast your ballot. First of all, you can cast it by mail. If you've already been mailed your ballot or you have your physical ballot, then you can mail your ballot back through USPS, and no stamp is required because the state pays for that. And the thing is, it must be postmarked by Election Day. So you should drop your ballot in the mail by the Friday before Election Day to make sure your post offices don't close and delay you until Monday, which could be after the deadline. And then the second way you can cast your ballot is to directly go to a ballot drop box, which can also be found in the same link. It's the green dots instead of the yellow dots. And there's no stamp required because you're directly dropping it in, and it must be dropped off by 8 p.m. on Election Day. So you can't wait until midnight. And the third way to vote is to go to a vote center. So those are the yellow dots. And it's kind of like an election office in the way that they can help provide direct assistance to the voters who need help completing their ballot. And you can also find your closest voting center at this link. And we have some additional resources here.
All right, we have some additional resources. So first of all, for citizenship/naturalization, there's the Northwest Immigration Rights Project, which is nwirp.org. and basically provides legal assistance and resources for immigrants applying for citizenship. And additionally, we have USA Learns, which is just usalearns.org. And it's a free online course to prepare for the citizenship interview/test. Next off, for identification, we have Vote Riders, which is just voteriders.org. And this provides free assistance for acquiring an ID. Next off, we have the Department of Licensing, which is just dol.wa.gov. And this resource basically provides information on how to acquire/renew an ID. And it provides ID help for the homeless and other information on required documents and ID processes. So lastly, for registration, we have API Vote, which is apivote.org. And it's a tool for voter registration, and it gives guides on the election process and ballots, etc. And lastly, we have TurboVote, which is turbovote.org, and it gives help for registering to vote via help from TurboVote, and it also gives election reminders, etc.
Yeah, cool. And that's the end of our webinar.
If you guys would like more information, you can visit our website at intlawsociety.org or email us at intnlawsociety@gmail.com. Thank you guys so much for listening. Have a great day.